The movie, Red One, despite its star-studded cast, feels like just another run-of-the-mill action film wrapped in a Christmas bow. The film attempts to blend the chaotic energy of holiday cheer with action-packed spectacle. However, it ultimately emerges as a hollow and forgettable entry in the action comedy genre. The movie checks all the boxes of a typical blockbuster, but falls short in delivering anything meaningful or entertaining. From its generic plot to its lackluster characters, Red One is simply another mindless action film with no depth, literally just another generic movie that is pumped out every year. The plot of Red One is as formulaic as it gets. The movie introduces us to Santa Claus, played by a surprisingly jacked version of the holiday icon, who, for some reason, has been kidnapped. The film quickly turns into a chase to rescue Santa, leading to a road trip-style adventure filled with bickering protagonists. It's a narrative so predictable that it seems almost like a parody of every action comedy movie ever made. There's the reluctant hero, the wisecracking sidekick, and the typical villain whose motivations are vague and unconvincing. What makes the plot even more tiresome is its relentless pacing. The movie moves at breakneck speed, throwing in one absurd scene after another without giving any real thought to character development or plot coherence. From Jack, a criminal forced into the adventure, to the absurd inclusion of an army of snowmen and a magic-wielding witch, Red One bombards the audience with too many unoriginal concepts in an attempt to add excitement. Instead of engaging with its potential for quirky holiday fun, the film leans too heavily on generic action tropes, leaving no room for surprise or creative storytelling. While Red One has an impressive cast, featuring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Chris Evans, and Lucy Liu, the performances fall flat due to the lack of depth in their characters. The film's central characters are essentially just vessels for forced jokes and one-liners. Santa, reimagined as a muscular, almost superhero-like figure, is an intriguing concept at first, but quickly becomes a hollow archetype, playing into the overdone trope of the jolly but tough hero. This version of Santa Claus feels like a parody rather than a character with any depth or nuance. Meanwhile, Chris Evans's portrayal of Jack is a missed opportunity. His character is a cartoonish villain whose supposed expertise as a hacker is laughable and entirely unconvincing. It's hard to believe that a character like Jack, who's shown stealing candy from a baby, could be capable of such high-tech feats, especially when the film doesn't give us any reason to buy into his abilities. The lack of chemistry between the two leads only exacerbates the film's problems. The supposed banter between them feels forced and lacks the charm needed to carry a road trip movie. Instead of enjoying their dynamic, it just seems like we are watching two actors go through the motions. Red One attempts to inject excitement with action sequences that are loud, chaotic, and ultimately forgettable. The film's action scenes are so generic that they could have been taken from any number of other action movies. The movie's reliance on CGI is another glaring issue. Scenes like the snowmobile chase are so poorly executed that they detract from the film rather than add to it. The CGI feels cheap, looking more like a video game cutscene than a polished big-budget spectacle. The lack of practical effects and real-world stakes makes it hard to care about any of the on-screen action. Additionally, the film's final confrontation is a visual disaster. The color scheme, heavy-handed CGI, and absurd set designs contribute to the overwhelming sense that the filmmakers are trying too hard to create a spectacle. Unfortunately, it's a spectacle that feels hollow and forced, contributing nothing to the story or characters. One of the biggest disappointments of Red One is how it squanders its potential as a holiday movie. The film could have capitalized on the magic of Christmas, using the holiday setting to explore themes of family and the true meaning of the season. Instead, it falls into the trap of generic action tropes, substituting heart for spectacle and leaving nothing of lasting value behind. It's clear that the filmmakers had an opportunity to do something fresh and exciting with the concept of Santa Claus in the modern world, but instead, they opted for the safe, uninspired route, producing yet another forgettable blockbuster. Even with the presence of charismatic actors and the potential for humor, Red One is ultimately just another example of a lazy, generic action movie. The film's lack of depth, forced character arcs, and mindless action make it difficult to engage with on any meaningful level. It's a film that attempts to be both a holiday blockbuster and a generic action comedy, but it fails to deliver on either front. Red One is a missed opportunity to create something unique and memorable. Instead of offering a fresh take on the Christmas genre, the movie opts for the same tired cliches and action movie tropes that have been done to death. With a lackluster plot, unconvincing characters, and over-reliance on CGI, Red One serves as yet another reminder of how easily holiday films can fall into the trap of mindless, soulless spectacle. It's a film that fails to stand out in a sea of generic blockbusters, which means that you should watch something else entirely.